I had K11 for my final exam, and it deals with probability and statistics. The students will collect, organize, and represent data. They will also read and interpret data in object graphs, picture graphs, and tables. Here are my objectives that you've already read over. And the introduction device is the pre-assessment on quizzes that I designed. And then here are all the vocabulary terms. I've added some that I think are important. I've seen on some other websites that kindergarten teachers have added like vocabulary walls going through these lessons, and I thought that was super neat. Like likely and impossible and certain, uncertain, impossible, and unlikely, the other terms that go along with those words. So for the lesson, the students will bring in an item from their home, their favorite thing. It could be a toy car, a Barbie, anything small that they can bring in, appropriate for this lesson. And they will try to sort this, and the students will try to come up with this on their own, but of course they are kindergartners and they will need a little nudge. So, but I'm not going to give it away to them. No teacher should. This will be guided through questions. This whole lesson will, and that's how it should be with kindergartners that are trying to learn things. They should never be told the answer. They should be asked questions that spark the knowledge. So, they will try to place their object into a category, and then that will be the object graph that they create. And we will talk about questions, which has the most items, which has the fewest items, which category has the most in there, how many are in there, and stuff like that. And then come down here to the picture graph portion of the lesson. They will be given small squares of paper, and they will draw his or her favorite thing. Now this could be something big that they couldn't bring in, like their dog or their swing set or a truck that their parents have or a boat or something like that. And then of course we will remind them that they have made two separate graphs. They are both graphs, but it is an object graph and a picture graph. And then right here is a table that we will design, and it will be labeled object graph, picture graph, and then have the number of things like toy and picture. Then over here will be like dog or boat or vehicle, anything like that. And they will count the numbers so they know which category had the most and which category had the least, so they can see that a table is different from a chart. So here's the closure and how we will wrap up this lesson, and this is where the scratch ties into this. Another thing that I loved about this lesson that gave me a great idea was that you could take pictures of the object graph and post the pictures that they have drawn on a bulletin board or up on the wall in the classroom. And it's just something for them to look back on and see that what they have created, even though the objects aren't there, they still have that reminder, and they can go back and look on it if they are struggling. But for the scratch project, they will be given this after they completed the lesson, and it really just focuses on the vocabulary. And I know it's going to be really hard for kindergartners to type in impossible or certain, so this will be kind of a whole group type thing or small group type thing with a teacher. It can also be accessed at home, and once they have played with this a couple of times, I can obviously go in and alter the words and make it a little bit more advanced, and make the questions a little bit more difficult so that they can further their knowledge once they get familiar with the first scratch project. But this is all about questions that further their knowledge. So I really love that I can go in and fix it, and especially at a time like this, all this stuff that's being done with their parents at home, the parents can learn too. So here's the differentiated activities, vocabulary cards, flip book, checklist. Here's the materials. The Scratch website is incorporated The assessment, questions, of course questions. We always need questions because kindergartners at this age, their minds need to be questioned. That was the whole part of the lesson, is to question them so they can do this on their own. Journal and writing prompts, you always want to include writing in everything that we do. And then here's a reflection that the teacher can fill out after the lesson has been completed. So let's pull up my Scratch project. Here's the robot telling the students that they're going to work on their vocabulary today. They will type their name, or the teacher or parent will. He tells them they're going to go to Mr. Bop for more information, and he glides across the screen. Everyone brought in an item from their home to include in our graph project. What did you bring? Toy car. Is it possible or impossible to find a starfish in a desert? Impossible. This is where the word bank will go into play at home. And obviously none of the answers are marked wrong. So the kindergartners can actually do this on their own. As long as they are speaking the correct terms, that is the main thing. It is certain that he is having a party. There are blank, balloons, and penguins. More or fewer? More. After the penguin opens up all of his birthday gifts, could he use a graph to organize them into categories? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, some graphs could be used. Some categories for the graphs could be toys, clothes, books. Another graph could be for who gave the gift to him, family or friends. And so, like I said, I could obviously go in and alter these and make sure that the questions get harder, more challenging, and the vocabulary gets broadened over time. So this is really awesome that I can alter this, and they can do this at home with their parents, and that they are learning vocabulary rather than learning vocabulary on this rather than taking a simple multiple choice quiz in the classroom.